4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. Listen, if it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call in and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. I guess we'll be here till around 9 tonight. Somewhere around there. Robbie? 9?
Yeah, about 9. Hey, we'll be better.
Are you upset about that?
No, we'll be better programming than the Oscars, and we won't take as long either.
Are you ready to give your Oscar picks tonight for Best Picture?
No.
How dare you? What's the matter with you? I put you on the spot, and you come up with nothing, Robert. Nothing. Today, listen, we're going to talk about Regis Prograis is set for the World Boxing Super Series next round. He'll face Relikh, and we'll tell you when. And some strong rumors coming in here. Did Triple G sign with DAZN? I don't know. Listen, hey, I don't know if I can make the same mistake twice, man. I don't know. But first, we get started with Fox Sports. Anthony Dirrell versus Avni Yildirim. Anthony, the dog Dirrell, won a technical split decision over Avni Yildirim by the scores of 96-94 twice for Dirrell and 98-92 for Yildirim. The fight was stopped in the 10th round due to a cut over Dirrell's left eye due to a clash of heads. The headbutt happened around the 7th round. In the 10th round, the ref took Dirrell over to the corner to have the doctor look at the cut. The doctor immediately waved off the fight. I mean, he just completely waved it off. So it wasn't like, it was one of those things where it wasn't like he took a lot of time to study this. I mean, he looked at that cut. It was over. And that was a nasty, nasty cut. I saw people today talking about that cut wasn't that bad. Okay. All right, you take that cut and then take some shots after. You tell me if that wasn't a bad cut. All right?
It reminded me of the Badu Jack cut, Eric.
You know what? It did. It was nasty, man. It was a very bad cut. And obviously it wasn't as big as the Badu Jack cut. But anybody who says that wasn't a bad cut, it's just like, dude, shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, absolutely none. That's the one thing that really kind of sickened me, honestly, and surprised me, was all the backlash that I read about Dirrell somehow buying out of the fight. Surprising me, Steve Kim actually tweeted something to that effect, that his corner was gaming the system because of the open scoring. And I think that's a very unfair thing to say, man.
You have to remember...
Hang on.
All right.
Doctor, not his corner, stopped the fight. I think it really sucks that people are going to criticize him for that. I mean, this guy gets in the ring. They all get in the ring. Let me read you the direct tweet from Steve Kim. Quote, I wonder, did the fact that Dirrell in his corner knew the score impact how they handled things in the 10th? Seems to me they gamed the system. How? His corner didn't stop the fight. The doctor stopped the fight. And you mean to tell me that you don't think, I mean, you looked at that cut just as well as I did, that fight shouldn't have been stopped? Come on, man. That's not right.
I have a real problem with that. Number one, we've talked about this before. I don't think there should be open scoring in fights. I don't know why they decided to do it for this card or this fight last night. Because I think it's bad. But come on, Steve, you're a better writer than that. You shouldn't have that kind of opinion. See, Jason, I'm getting all over Steve Kim. He said something he shouldn't have said.
Wow, you went deep on Steve, man. That's messed up.
That
was messed up.
That's bad. It was a bad cut. Like I said, when I saw it last night, I know it wasn't as big, but it reminded me of the Badu Jack cut. And another thing, I don't know how one judge could have that 98-92 for the other guy. Yes, it was a competitive fight, but that judge makes it sound like Anthony Dirrell didn't do anything, and that is definitely not the case. I swear, with some of the scoring we've seen lately, boxing needs to do something about their judging system, and I'm going to bring up some ranking things with one of the organizations later on in the show, because there's some strange things going on in this sport.
Yeah, I would agree. Beeb, in relation to the tweets that's going on here, what are your thoughts on this? I mean,
well, okay, they got the scorecards after the 8th, but Dirrell was up on 2 of them, I believe, correct?
I believe so.
But he was up very narrowly on both of them after the 8th, so that he still had the 9th and the rest of the fight to fight. So there was no guarantee he was going to get the 9th round. There was no guarantee he was going to get the 10th round. So even though he was slightly ahead, he still had to make sure that he won the 9th and 10th round. So after the 9th round, it wasn't clear cut that he won it. And after the 10th round, I thought he lost the 10th round. So it wasn't like he was up by 10 points where he had the luxury of dialing it in, because it was still a close fight on the cards, except for the wide card that had it for Yildirim. So that's why the tweet makes no sense. And also, too, a lot of times you'll see the corner ask the referee to look at their fighter's cut. Sometimes you'll see the fighter ask the referee to have the doctor look at the cut. In the Mikey Garcia fight, when Mikey Garcia fought Orlando Salido when he broke his nose with the headbutt, in that fight, you could see Mikey ask the referee to have the doctor look at his nose to see if it was broken or not. So there are occasions where the corner or the fighter will ask the referee to have the doctor look at them if they feel that something's wrong and they know that it was, the injury was suffered from a headbutt or something illegal or whatever. Was not a legitimate punch. But this wasn't the case last night. And the problem is, the Dirrell family kind of has that cloud hanging over their head with Andre and Leon Lawson, the uncle. I mean, Andre Dirrell, we all know what happened in the Super 6 when he fought Arthur Abraham. That was questionable how that fight ended. And then the Uzcategui fight, same thing. And then what his uncle Leon Lawson did after that. But, this isn't really guilty by association, in my opinion, or it shouldn't be guilty by association, in my opinion, because, Anthony wanted to continue. I'm sure in the back of his mind he didn't know 100% that he won that fight, because the fight was very close. So I'm sure he wanted to put a stamp on it. He wanted to make sure, he wanted to be 100% certain that he won that fight. He probably wanted to have the chance to put some more rounds in the bank to secure the victory unequivocally. But be that as it may, I totally disagree with what Steve Kim said. And, we know what's going on there. I'm just going to come out and say, how Steve Kim is he's very anti-PBC. And even with, what's been going on lately, how PBC's really been outperforming everyone else in terms of shows, in terms of ratings, in terms of everything. And they have the best, strongest deal, in boxing right now. So, I mean, we know how there's factions in the sport. We know how Steve Kim is anti-PBC, and this is just another example of him being anti-PBC, in my opinion. And I'm just going to come right out and say it.
A point to that, Beeb. Granted, a lot of people were against PBC in the beginning with all the deals and all the fights they were showing, but they've turned that around. They have been putting on better fights lately, and I don't think it's necessary anymore for people like Steve Kim, who are professionals in this business and have been in this business for a very long time, to continue being anti-Al Heyman or anti-PBC. we have to judge what we're seeing on our TV screens and on our phones and websites and whatever else. And right now, they're doing better than Golden Boy and Top Rank and ESPN and DAZN and all those things. So this anti-PB, look, I believed it for a long time, but they've turned things around. And I don't think it pays to be anti-PBC anymore. It just doesn't.
And real quick, let's get back to the cut. From what I hear, I believe the referee and I believe the referee looked at the cut, and obviously he was concerned. But I think the doctor, if I'm not mistaken, said that what really concerned him was that he could see the muscle come out of the cut. So the muscle was actually exposed. So that's what concerned the doctor. That's why he stopped it. So
it was a horrible looking cut. I mean, if you watched when he was getting interviewed, and I don't know who that was interviewing him, or the girl in the ring or whatever that was interviewing him.
Jordan Hardy.
Yeah. So she was interviewing him, and I'm looking at that cut, and he was trying to turn away, like where he's going to kind of give it us a profile because it was so bad. They showed that cut. It was horrible.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was horrible.
It was bad.
How anybody could even question that after that? It was like, what do you? Come on, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And saying his corner is gaming this. Come on, man, dude. I mean, seriously, come on. Listen, I'm not the biggest Dirrell fan out there, and there's no real reason for it, other than, like you said, I mean, you got his uncle and you got his, what I mean, and all the stuff around him. But there's I mean, he's not like one of my favorite fighters or anything like that, but, I don't like, I mean, you got to call it like you see it. He didn't stop that fight. His corner didn't stop that fight. Nobody asked for the doctor. The ref took him right over to the doctor, and the doctor looked at it and said, absolutely not.
Well, not only that,
I don't know.
Yeah, someone in the chat said Steve Kim works for Golden Boy. He used to work for Golden Boy. I don't know if he still does the Golden Boy shows. But he also works for ESPN, and we all know that ESPN has that deal with Top Rank. So Steve Kim does have an agenda. A lot of these websites and these writers have an agenda. We all know that. And 90% of them are anti-PBC.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, look, I mean, listen, I like PBC, I like Golden Boy, I like DAZN, I like Top Rank, I like all of them. I like fights. I don't say, hey, this, I don't root for promoters or anything like that. I root for good fights. Just put good fights together, But
and I'm gonna,
it's one of those things where it's like, and I understand like people have agendas and stuff like that, but it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, when you get to that level, and you're at Dan Raphael's level, you're at Steve Kim's level, you're at Dougie Fisher's level, you're at that level. Even Keith Idec. When you're out there and you're affiliated with a website that's reaching a lot of people, you have to be more professional. You have to try to be more objective, and it's just too obvious. I would have thought Steve Kim would have changed once he got a job at ESPN, but he hasn't. And it's just blatantly obvious, and that's
no. And I have a lot of respect for Steve, but something like this makes me want to lose respect for him, because you're supposed to use your journalism profile and report things, as they are. You're entitled to your opinion, and on your private Twitter account, I suppose you can say whatever the hell you want. But when you're representing a big outlet such as ESPN, that kind of goes out the window. You're being paid by them to report on the sport that they hired you for.
And there was a lot of boxing going on yesterday. And the two best cards of the weekend were PBC cards by far. And I'm going to eat some crow, because I kind of shit on that Anthony Dirrell fight, and Jason knows it. I was critical of the Anthony Dirrell fight, and props to him, because he said right from the beginning that the fight was going to be an exciting fight because of the two styles that were involved in the fight, and he was 100% correct. That was an outstanding fight. you could argue that fight from from an entertainment standpoint was even better than the DeGale Eubank fight. If you really want to get technical about it, it was a very competitive fight. It was a close fight, and there was an action fight from start to finish. There was no holding. Both guys were throwing a ton of punches. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm just going to say that was the best fight of the weekend.
Yeah, it turned out to be.
No need to shit on that. No need to shit on that or put a dark cloud on that. That was a great. It was a great fight. Why bring controversy and negativity into it where it doesn't belong?
And Michael Cooper in the chat just says we have PBC people that are biased too. I get that, but my point is, if they work for the PBC, of course they're going to be biased toward the PBC, just like the people who work at Top Rank, are biased with Top Rank. But the thing is, again, listen, we look at it. We try to look at it as objective as possible. And if the card sucks, we have to say the card sucks. Now, on paper, the card sucked last night. On paper, when you judge a schedule, just like I said the other day, I think it was, when you have a schedule in front of you, a boxing schedule, you look at it and say, this is a good fight, the fight I want to see, or this is not a fight I really want to see. I don't really care too much about this fight. But ultimately, the fight's got to play out. And whether it's a good fight or not is, the fighters take care of that. If it's a good fight, it's a good fight. And you have to say, hey, that was a good fight. I thought it was a really good fight.
Well, let me address that comment in the chat real quick, and feel free to agree or disagree with me here. Yeah, there are people that are biased with PBC, but they're mostly YouTube channels. They're mostly, and again, some of these YouTube channels do have a lot of subscribers. Don't get me wrong, but they're still not an ESPN. They're still not a Ring Magazine. They're still not a boxing scene. They're still not a Keith Idec. They're still not a Dougie Fisher. They're still not a Steve Kim. You know what I'm saying? They're not as big in terms of these other media outlets. Like, those are mainstream media outlets. The people that are biased to PBC are the new media people. They're the YouTube channels. And if it wasn't for these YouTube channels, we wouldn't have any balance. We wouldn't have any balance because people shit on the PBC ever since its inception from 2015. And they said, oh, I thought PBC was going to be on free television. What happened? They're back on Showtime. Yeah, but they're on fucking Fox too, you idiots. And look at the numbers they're doing on Fox. And no one's eating, no one is retracting their statements. Nobody is eating their crow. No one's saying, you know what? PBC is starting to really come around. No one's doing that. So yeah, there is bias on both sides, but the main boxing sites, the big media outlets in terms of boxing, they're shitting all over PBC, and they have never went back on what they said, even when they were proven wrong by the numbers, by the fights, by the entertainment value. I think PBC has outperformed every other promoter last year and so far the first half of this year. That's just my opinion.
Well, it's hard to argue. I mean,
it's really hard to argue.
It really is. And I mean, you tell me who has the better fights. And everybody was so quick to point out when they didn't like a matchup that was being broadcast on PBC. But we all do that. We all do that. And we do that with everybody.
But these same people are not criticizing this Top Rank schedule.
Right.
This Top Rank schedule is very, very bad. And the DAZN schedule has been bad. Now, granted, we are going to get the Joshua Miller fight. We are going to get the Canelo Jacobs fight. So that's great. But where's the light at the end of the tunnel? Where's the rainbow after the sunshine coming from the Top Rank side?
Right.
There's nothing there. That's why Bob is so salty towards Heyman. That's why he's all coming up with all this anti-Heyman stuff. Because he needs the Heyman fighters. As I've said, I hate to beat a dead horse, but he needs the Heyman fighters.
Well, I think, personally, and, I think that, if there is any PBC bashing on Bob's part, I think a lot of it has to do with, you think about with the Crawford situation, he can't get a fight with Spence. And, I mean, that just is what it is. But you know what? It's not really his fight. Even if he were to cross the street and go to PBC, it wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter. Because he's still not going to get Spence. All right? And that's not a PBC issue. Well, that's a Spence issue.
Well, let's just say this too. I mean, this. I don't want to make this an Al Heyman love fest, but let's call it for like it is. Al Heyman, set his whole product and his brand up where he's really not just tied to one network. Like Bob threw all his eggs in one basket. He threw all his eggs in one basket. Heyman did not. Heyman's got Showtime. He's got Fox. He's got IFL TV. He's got all these network deals going on right now. So he has a lot of ways to show fights. He has a wider platform, a wider array of platforms, I should say, where Bob has thrown all his eggs in one basket in ESPN. So now everybody that wants to fight Bob's fighters, he's going to say, oh, well, they got to come on ESPN. But Bob, ESPN is technically the biggest sports network in the world, allegedly. But Fox is in 95% of the homes in the United States. Fox is gigantic compared to ESPN. So, Fox is regular television. Everybody has Fox. You buy a TV, you plug it in, you don't even have to attach a cable box to it. You have Fox. Mm-hmm. So that's a no-brainer. I mean, it's the best and biggest platform because it has all those NFL games, it has all the baseball games. Fox is huge. Fox is huge. And all the advertisement and the promotion. I saw a beautiful commercial with that Mikey Garcia Errol Spence fight on Fox the other day. And I'm telling you, this Fox deal is a game changer. It's a game changer. And now they're doing pay-per-views too. I mean, come on.
I think that's the thing is that Fox does, and I don't even know if it's PBC so much as it is Fox. Fox does such good promotion, and they did it with the UFC as well when it was on there. They do such good production. They do such good promotion leading into fights.
And here's another thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I'll make this one quick point. I apologize for interrupting you. Here's another thing they're doing in terms of marketing the fighters. They got the fighters as like all these different fighters now, like not just one or two fighters, but like there's like 5 or 6 or 7, 8, 10 fighters that are commentators now. And then they also have that show where every week a fighter will sit down with the broadcast team, and they'll have, what's that show called? Jason knows what that show is called on Fox, where they'll just have like an hour or a half
PBC
hour show
Weekly or something. Who cares? Yeah,
PBC Weekly.
Yeah, PBC Weekly.
I don't know what it's called.
And they have like a fighter, like a different fighter sitting in every week. Like they're really promoting these guys.
Right.
PBC Face to Face, PBC Tonight. Like
right.
Fox is really going above and beyond and really thinking outside the box. Terrence Crawford and all these ESPN guys are not doing that. Now, granted, you have Tim Bradley and Andre Ward. That's great, but that's all they have. PBC's got all these fighters, and they're all involved, some way, shape, or form, in building the brand of PBC. Not only that, they're building themselves up too because they're becoming a face to the brand. You see what I'm saying? Which is very important.
Right. And those shows aren't for everybody. The PBC Countdown shows and stuff like that and the face-to-face, they're not for everybody because they pretend that no other organization exists outside of PBC. But you have to take it for what it is. It's a PBC promotion. You know what I mean? They're only going to talk about they're there to promote their fighters, not your fighters.
That's correct.
Fighters, not this, not that. They're there to promote those fighters. So I don't necessarily buy into it. I don't like that type of thing, so I don't watch it. But I understand why they do it. It's promotion. I get it, and it's good for the fighters. It really is. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, and it's good for them. So, all right, let's move ahead here. On the second, let's see here, some other action on the card, and the other two fights weren't. I mean, I could take them or leave them, so we're not going to talk about them. But one that really stood out to me, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch it or see the highlights, or I don't know if you guys have seen this guy before. Money Powell. I think it's Money Powell IV. I believe it's Money Powell IV. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat. I think it's Money Powell IV, which is So odd. That means there was like 3 other Money Powells before him. It's such a weird name, Money Powell.
Yeah.
It's an awesome name, though. I mean, that's like that's a get rich kind of name, Money Powell. I mean, that's a celebrity name, man.
That would be that'd be something Floyd Mayweather would adopt,
Right, exactly,
Please, Robbie.
Please, Beeb.
But Money Powell looked good, man. He fought Javier Frazier. He looked really good. He's a solid prospect. He knocked this guy out in the 3rd round. He's now 8-0, I believe, and he looks really promising, but he looked very good. And every time I've seen this kid, he looks better and better. So looking forward to him in the future, man. So keep an eye on that guy, Money Powell. All right, let's go ahead and move into DAZN. I'm not sure how many people actually had a chance to watch this one or not. Listen, man, this was another one on paper that was just awful. Awful. I can't even, I don't want to see it. Brandon Rios versus Humberto Soto. But let me tell you what, it actually turned out to be really, really good. Humberto Soto upsets Brandon Rios by the scores of 119-111 and 118-112 twice. This was a good fight. This was a really good fight, man. Neither one of these guys had much in the way of defense. They just winged shots all night and hit each other, and it was entertaining. It was a very, if you haven't seen this fight, man, go back and watch it. Go back to DAZN and check it out, man. It was actually a really good fight. It's very entertaining, and Brandon Rios is always in good fights, like entertaining type fights. That being said, I would hate to see either one of them in a ring again, man. Soto's 38 years old, by the way. He's 38 years old, and he looked like he was 38. I mean, he physically looked like he was 38.
Brandon Rios looks like he's 38 too.
Yeah, right. He's probably 21. Who knows?
I'm sorry to say that with all respect. With all due respect.
Both of these fighters, both of them had good careers, man. I don't want to see him take any more shots, though.
Me neither.
I don't want to see it, man. Let me tell you, this is crazy. All right, it's kind of alarming, man. So I looked up a video from Brandon Rios 2 years ago. All right, I think it was before the Pacquiao fight or after the Pacquiao fight, and he was speaking clearly.
Yeah, I was just about to say this. Go ahead.
I pulled up a video from a couple of months ago leading into this fight, and he was slurring his words. And I thought maybe, maybe he was inebriated. I don't know. Maybe he was on some. I don't know.
No, I've heard him talk like that, and it's not good.
Yeah, so I pulled up another video, just a recent video, and he was slurring his words there, man. I don't need to see him in the ring anymore. He's had enough. No. I mean, he's had a good career. He's had like a Gatti-esque type career, where listen, man, the guy's a warrior. He comes to fight. He's in front of you. He's putting pressure on you. That's it, man. But I don't want to see it anymore, man. I don't, and maybe I'm naive, man, but I don't understand why trainers, and I've always said this, trainers, managers, people around the fighters let this go on. He has no business in the ring. He doesn't. And he could still fight. We saw it last night. He could still fight. But the fact that he's slurring his words doesn't concern anybody? I mean, is that right? I mean, it doesn't concern anybody around you?
He can still fight, but he can only fight one way. And
right.
that one way entails getting hit with a lot of punches. His defense is not up to par, man. It's a very leaky defense.
If it continues, you might have another terrible situation on your hands. And we just recently saw that. If everybody goes back to Adonis Stevenson fight, we don't need to see anything like that. I mean, come on.
Right. Robbie, incidentally, Dwayne M in the chat. This is beautiful. Beeb, did you see this?
Yeah.
Dwayne M in the chat has a Robbie cutoff count. How many times you cut people off? You're up to 3.
He actually did it 3. He actually did it 3 times.
That's so
cool. My God.
The Robbie cutoff.
I try not to do that, guys.
Do it on purpose,
we should have a Robbie cutoff clock.
Do it on purpose, Robbie.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Beeb, you know what? I can do that with this software. I can put a Robbie cutoff clock in the corner, and every
do that.
No, come on. I don't do it on purpose, guys.
We're busting you, man. Come on. Get a thicker skin, son. Come on. Come on.
But, yeah, all right. Anyway, no, I hope both of those guys quit. You know,
well, Soto looked every bit of 38 last night, too. I mean, he was fighting in, like, spurts and everything like that. But, you know, I mean, yeah, he looked every bit of 38. So, I mean, hopefully, and he won the fight. And once, I mean, the score, I mean, let me read that, because I wasn't scoring the fight, but 119-111 and 118-112, it seemed, you know, I don't know, a little wide for me, man. That fight looked a lot closer.
How do you get a 119 and 111 or 118-112? Because a normal 12-round fight would be, you know, 8 rounds to 4 would be 116-112, and then you'd have 117-111. So did somebody score an even round somewhere? I don't get that.
I don't know. The only thing I can, you know, Humberto Soto is from Mexico, and the fight took place in Tijuana, so you can draw your conclusion to what happens with the judging. But
all right,
yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, man, where it was like, it was a good fight, and I you know, and it was entertaining, and that should be the fight you guys go out on. You know what I mean? That should be the fight that you guys go out on, because. You know, it's enough. You know, you guys did well. You guys had good careers. But if he goes any further with this, then, you know, he's going to risk, like, he's already got some damage from it. You know?
Yeah.
It's just sad. I don't want to see
agree.
it.
I agree 110%.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. All right. So let's move on here. Showtime. James DeGale versus Chris Eubank Jr. We went over this yesterday, and you know what? We're going to go over it again today.
Yeah.
24 hours to think about what we said yesterday and where we screwed up, and we're going to fix it.
Yeah. No cutoffs, Robbie.
I'm going to put that clock. He said the over-under was 17.
Oh, my God.
My boy Robbie in this chat, man. You leave Robbie alone.
Got another hour and a half to go, man. He's going to make it. Especially when Corey calls in. He's usually good for 7 interruptions during Corey's calls.
Those don't count during Corey's calls, though, because Corey's calls, you know, they can, you know.
Those are like power punches. All the other ones are jabs. The ones when he does, those are power cutoffs.
Those are worthy cutoffs, though.
Those are,
oh my God!
Those are power cutoffs.
Hey, Beeb, those are mercy cutoffs. All right.
Please, you guys, please, come on.
Corey's my brother, man. Don't make fun of Corey, please.
All right. Chris Eubank, in case you didn't see it, won a unanimous decision by the scores of 114-112, 115-112, and 117-109. How they got the scores of 114-112 and 115-112 out of that fight, I have no idea. But Eubank did a great job of being the aggressor, actually boxed really well, I thought. He knocked down DeGale in the second round and again in the 10th. The 11th round, Eubank was deducted a point for body slamming DeGale. DeGale was rushing in all night. Eubank puts his shoulder down. He picked him up a couple of times during the fight, and you know, he didn't do anything. But in the 11th round, I think he got just sick of it because DeGale came right over the top of him. He picked him up with his shoulder, like shouldered him up, man, and just dropped him. I mean, like his legs and everything just kind of. I couldn't tell. Beeb, could you tell if he scooped those legs when he put them down or what? Like a double leg or what?
It was. I think it was a single leg.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Like I couldn't tell if he grabbed his legs while he was throwing them down so that he landed on his back. I don't know.
That was an awesome slam, man.
It was. I tell you what, and I don't know if anybody's ever been slammed to the ground before. If you've ever been tripped to the ground or you've ever been thrown or anything like that, let me tell you what, it hurts. I mean, it hurts. It's not comfortable at all, man. So yeah, and it'll take your breath away and everything like that if you're not ready for it.
That was an awesome slam. He became my favorite fighter after that.
It was crazy, right? DeGale looked way past his prime in this fight, man. George Groves, incidentally, who was announcing the fight, said after the fight that DeGale needs to call it a day. And listen, man, I know DeGale was trying in there because I know he did not want to lose to Chris Eubank Jr. Of all the people to lose to, he did not want to lose to Eubank. There was a lot of bad blood in this fight.
But after the fight, man, DeGale, DeGale thought, he was like, he just nicked me in the scorecards, basically saying that he thought it was a close fight.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, DeGale, but he did give him his due. He did give him his due and everything like that. So, I mean, as much as he didn't want to lose to him, he took it like a man. So,
That fight was not close at all.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely not.
Please.
So as far as what's next for Eubank, man, I don't know. Dirrell called out Caleb Plant last night. After the fight, he called out Caleb Plant.
He loses that
I guess
fight.
he said that in the press conference or what. I know he said it in the interview in the ring, but he also called out somebody else. I think it was Benavidez or something like that.
Well, if you remember right, Eric, Dirrell won the title that Benavidez had before Benavidez lost it because of his drug suspension. And I guess it's set up now if the winner of Benavidez, Jalen Love, on the Spence Mikey Garcia undercard will get the next shot at Dirrell.
Right. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this?
A lot of people are really saying that DeGale was on the slide, and he was on the slide. But even with him being on the slide, people still questioned whether or not Chris Eubank could beat him. I mean, this was looked at as a 50-50 fight, and it didn't play out that way. I mean, I think Chris Eubank took DeGale to school, and I mentioned this yesterday, and I mentioned it today, and I'm going to mention it again right now, is DeGale makes fighters look bad. And he tried to make Eubank look bad. He tried to make it a sloppy, ugly, stinker type of a fight in order to try to take away some of that pressure and some of that volume from Eubank. And Eubank was not allowing him to do it. He was fighting out of the clinches. He was counter-punching. He was maneuvering and bullying and muscling James DeGale. And, Chris Eubank is really a middleweight fighting a full-fledged super middleweight. And he was by far the heavier hitter, number one. And number two, he was the stronger guy. And he was the more explosive guy, applying the more effective pressure. So I was extremely impressed with Chris Eubank last night because I thought this fight was going to be a close fight. I picked him to win, but I also said that if he did lose, I wouldn't be surprised. And I've been the biggest critic of Chris Eubank, and I saw a lot of improvement yesterday. I saw poise. I saw patience. I saw the punches were a lot sharper. They were a lot tighter. The combinations were more fluid. Wasn't loading up and winging one shot at a time. Jab could have been a little bit better. Body punching could have been a little bit more. But there was improvement in both of those departments as well. He was using the jab to measure, using the jab to gauge range. He was using the jab to set up shots. And he was punching to the body on the inside. And those uppercuts on the inside were beautiful. So I like what I saw from James DeGale last night. Not James DeGale, excuse me. Chris Eubank last night a lot. And I think that, he still has room for improvement. He still has time to get better. He's just entering his prime right now. How old is he? Like 28 years old?
Something like
29.
29? He's got about 3 or 4 more years left of prime years to improve and get better. And if he continues to want to get better and he continues to listen to a trainer, which he looked like he did for the first time in his career yesterday, if he continues to piggyback off of that and build off of that, he can only get better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would go along with that, man. I would go along with that. He did a great job yesterday, though, man. I thought that, like I said, but I think that we got to be careful here because I thought that he did a great job for Chris Eubank. I still didn't think he looked all that great in the sense that, like, I think he was looking at with DeGale, DeGale's on his way out. DeGale shouldn't have beat this guy, and he didn't. This was a fight I thought that Eubank should have won. That being said, I still think there's room for improvement. But has he come a long way since his last fight? Yes. This is the most improved Eubank I've seen. Because he's had other trainers in the past and everything like that. This is the most improved version of Eubank I've seen. He looked good last night. He looked good. Does he beat like a Caleb Plant? No.
Maybe.
Caleb Plant is completely wrong for that guy.
Well, look at Uzcategui that applied pressure, and Caleb Plant came out of the box real quick in that fight. Built a good lead. But Uzcategui narrowed it down there in the second half of the fight. So if Uzcategui, who's not as athletically gifted as Chris Eubank Jr., who doesn't punch as hard as Chris Eubank Jr., if he could do that to Caleb Plant, I think Chris Eubank could do that too. I think Chris Eubank could do everything that Uzcategui could do and more. So I would probably pick Caleb Plant, but I don't know. As time goes on, I may find myself kind of leaning towards Chris Eubank Jr. too. I think Chris Eubank Jr. has one thing that none of these guys at 168 have. He's just he's very gifted physically and athletically. I think he hits harder than these guys by far, all these guys. And I think he's quicker than these guys, and I just think he's more explosive than these guys. He has really that X factor, that God-gifted ability that you have to be born with, you can't be taught. And all he needed to learn how to do was to harness it. And he learned a little bit yesterday how to harness it. If he can continue to harness it even more, he's going to be a problem for these guys. But I see your point.
Yeah, I hope he continues to get better. I mean, like I said, you know as well, I've always liked Chris Eubank Jr. Always liked
you
Chris
have.
Eubank.
Yeah.
Always been a fan of his. But again, he was very raw. But like I said, man, this is the first time I've seen him like take instruction and improve. And that's a good sign. That's just a good sign, man.
Well, let's be honest now, because people in the chat are kind of criticizing me about that, what I just said. Let's be honest now. Plant still has to grow too. He still has to, gain experience. He did great in that fight against Uzcategui, but there was some rough patches. He got hit in that fight. He got hit clean with some good right hands. Let's not pretend that Plant is this guy that's been around the block 20 times and he's like a proven veteran. He's still up and coming himself. So let's see. He still has a lot to prove too. Now, in terms of skill, yeah, Plant definitely is more skilled. But again, when you bring that X factor to the game, that can change everything.
But if you're looking at the 168 division, wouldn't Callum Smith be the best one out of all of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question. Yeah, he is. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't put Eubank in with him. I wouldn't put him in with Caleb Plant. Man, those guys are, Caleb Plant especially is wrong for him because look what Billy Joe Saunders did to him. You know what I mean? Look what George Groves did to him.
Well, the Saunders fight was a close fight, Eric.
I didn't think it was that close.
I thought it was. He came on strong in the second half of that fight.
He did. All right, let's talk about Bermane Stiverne. Your boy. Robert, your boy, Bermane Stiverne.
273 pounds of Bermane Stiverne.
Please, Robbie.
Joe Joyce beats 273-pound Bermane Stiverne by TKO in the 6th round. Stiverne looked like he was suffering more from exhaustion than Joyce's punches, man. Everybody seems really high on Joe Joyce. I don't know what you're watching. I don't. I really don't know. I thought he looked very beatable. He's very one-dimensional. Honestly, he just doesn't, to me, as far as like a world-class fighter goes, he doesn't look like that guy. He doesn't look like a contender. He doesn't look, he's talking about fighting Manuel Char next. I guess the WA regular champion, whatever.
He'll lose that fight.
Because Char can actually fight, Yeah. And not that Stiverne couldn't, but let me tell you what, if you watched, and if you think that I'm being too hard on the guy, if you watch the first 2 rounds of that fight, just watch the first round of that fight. You see Stiverne hit him at will with overhand rights. Now, Joyce walked through him. I'll give you that. And he hit him with a left hook. But can you imagine him in there with anybody who could sustain that? You know what I mean? Who can sustain, hey, that's going to pop you all night? There's no way he's going to be able to stand up to that. And Stiverne
they brought up Ortiz, and there's no way Ortiz would just eat him for lunch.
Right. I agree. I agree with that. Beeb, what's your assessment with Bermane Stiverne and Joe Joyce?
Well, that first round was kind of telling. I mean, Bermane Stiverne was landing some good right hands in that first round. But you have to ask yourself, if Bermane Stiverne comes in at 235, 240 pounds, does that result stay the same like that? Does Joe Joyce beat that Bermane Stiverne that beat Deontay Wilder? Now, granted, that was a long time ago, but that fought Deontay Wilder in the first fight in 2014. That was a long time ago.
It was.
But Stiverne was still, game in that fight. He went the distance with. He was like the only fighter to ever go the distance with Deontay Wilder. Oh, well, now Tyson Fury, second. He was the first guy to go the distance with Deontay Wilder. So when I look at how much Stiverne has declined over the years, it's to the point now I'm questioning whether or not he should even be licensed to fight, like sanctioned, like some of these commissions. Like I remember one time in New York, Evander Holyfield was denied a boxing license because of diminished skill. I'm wondering now, like some of these commissions need to turn some of these guys away for their own sake, for their safety, because you could just tell that he's in it just for a paycheck now. He's not even getting ready for these fights. He's not even training for these fights. There's no way he should be 273. No way. He's not ripped and shredded like a Big Baby Miller. He doesn't have a functional 315 frame like Big Baby Miller. There's no way he could do it. It takes a special fighter like Big Baby Miller to walk around at 300 pounds. Or, Bermane Stiverne's not that. He's not that guy.
Did you just say he's not ripped and shredded like Big Baby Miller?
I did.
Yes, he did.
Please.
Yes, he did.
Please, Robbie.
That is awful. But Eric, I want. This is a perfect segue. I want to bring up another point involving this fight, and this brings me to my sanctioning body point that I talked about earlier. I saw two examples yesterday where the WBA are complete, utter idiots. You had in the Joe Joyce Bermane Stiverne fight, the WBA has Joe Joyce ranked number 5 in the WBA. He is not even near contender status. How in the hell can you be ranked number 5 by the WBA? And then there was a fight last night that we didn't talk about, justifiably so, where Jamal James, at 147 pounds, goes in and fights a guy and beats him. But the WBA has him ranked at 147, number 3. How in the hell does this sanctioning body and other sanctioning bodies decide these rankings? That's two cases right there where both of these fighters are not ready for their ranking. Joe Joyce will be destroyed by any top-level heavyweight. Jamal James, I like him as a fighter, but he would be totally destroyed by anybody ranked above him. I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier. There's something wrong with our sport with some of these rankings and with the way that people get things accomplished in this sport. It just blows my fucking mind.
Please,
the WBA is a fucking idiot.
I couldn't agree more, Robert. Couldn't agree more. All right, let's go to the phones because that was it for. Well, no, hang on. Before we do, just real quick, we're just going to touch on this. Lee Selby versus Omar Douglas, 12 rounds. Lee Selby moving up to lightweight here, 2 weight divisions up. Selby wins a unanimous decision, 116 to 112 twice and 115 to 114. The thing last night, Lee Selby was, I guess, at 120. He was at 126 and moved up 2 weight classes because he said at 130 he'd still be shrinking himself down. He said at one point when he was making weight, he would put lettuce in his mouth just to get the taste of it, just to try to trick his body into thinking he was eating it. And I guess he would spit the lettuce out or whatever to try to cut weight. Nuts. Just absolutely nuts.
That's pathetic.
I'm going to have to call someone for that.
Yeah, right?
Please, Robbie.
Oh, my God. All right, area code 209. 209, you're live.
It's a new caller? This a new caller?
No, that's Paul.
Stockton,
that's
son.
Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's
What's
happening?
up there?
We're doing good, man.
What's
We're
up
doing
there?
good.
What's up there, pulverizing Paul?
Sounds like we're just going over the same stuff we went over last night, huh? But,
Well,
I do want to.
yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Robbie. What were you saying?
No, yeah, we went over it for those that didn't hear it yesterday, but we also talked about the Dirrell fight and the DAZN fights and other stuff.
Yeah, the Dirrell fight. Yeah, last night actually, I just was looking into that because I saw a clip of the. I didn't see the fight itself. I just saw the ending, where it seemed like Yildirim thought he won, and then obviously Dirrell won. But that I was saying last night actually that that was the guy that Eubank actually knocked out clean. That was like the one time I saw Eubank actually clip someone hard and like get him out with one punch. And I don't know who Anthony Dirrell is going to fight after beating that guy, because Dirrell looks washed. Even though he beat that guy, it's like he shouldn't have had as much trouble with Yildirim, in my opinion, as he did. So I don't know. I'm not really interested in seeing Dirrell get in there with anyone, but Eubank Saunders, I'm of a different opinion than Eric. I really think that Eubank would actually take that fight this time. That is, if Saunders doesn't have access to his magical potions, because Saunders, before what fight was it? The Lemieux fight. Remember, he fought Wolverine and then he fought some other guy, and he gassed out in both those fights in like the 4th or 5th round, and then all of a sudden, magically, in the Lemieux fight, he had enough energy to run a marathon, and then he tests positive for the Exilifrine after that. So I just don't think Saunders has the gas tank to keep up with Eubank. And after last night's fight, I think Eubank, like we were talking about, has a newfound patience, and his approach will be a lot more. He won't be as wildly aggressive, I guess, is the point I'm saying. I think he's a lot stronger and more athletic than Saunders as well. And I think that's really one of the things that Eubank is starting to figure out how to use in a boxing way, right? Not just, like, hey, look, I'm strong and I'm fast, but then he moves his feet like an 80-year-old woman, and then instead of, like, using his strength to push guys around, he's, like, just standing there or whatever, throwing those horrible combos of his. So, anyway, I would like to see that fight. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think that would be a pretty exciting fight. Also, I think you guys were talking about that last night. We were trying to figure out, or someone was trying to figure out who the other prospect from the heavyweight prospect was from the UK, Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
I just saw it. I just saw it in the chat.
Yeah, I think Dubois looks fantastic.
Yeah, he's good.
And he's really young. But
he's good. He's good.
Yeah, he has a lot of skill, and he seems to have that dog in him that, you need, especially in the heavyweight division, right? So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this Kajanu fight, even though Kajanu looks completely like he's just a punching bag in there at this point. But it's always good to see Dubois fight, so I hope they step him up. Actually, I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think it'd be such a bad fight to have him versus who's the guy again last night?
Joyce?
Have Dubois versus Joyce. Yeah, have like a British contender elimination fight, right? And let's just see out of those two, who's the better fighter. I'm pretty sure we all agree that it'd be Dubois. So, let's see. What else was I going to talk to you guys about? Something else I want to talk about. Hold on a second here. I want boxing scene to refresh my memory here.
Yeah, we got all night. Don't worry about it. That's all good.
Oh.
Yeah, we can wait.
You know what I heard?
Yeah, we got time here. Yeah, of course. I mean, what else?
You guys,
we got nothing else to do. Here, call. Hold on. I forgot my point. Let me go check my computer. Hold on. I'll be right back, guys. Let me run upstairs and check it out real quick. Let me get my notes and check out what I was writing. Hold on.
Robbie, please. Robbie, please.
What I wanted to say was about the Triple G DAZN deal. And
yeah, we'll talk
really
about
that.
We've
learned from that Bob. I really hope we've learned from that Bob Arum interview that although yes, like someone was Notorious VC in the chat was saying, you just put two and two together. You can't put two and two together because we're really putting two and two together with numbers that are given to us by who knows who. You know what I'm saying? I heard the last thing I heard was that first it was a $45 million deal from DAZN, but specifically from Eddie Hearn's side of DAZN, not Golden Boy. And then I heard that Heyman was looking to match it. Again, it's just random rumors. There's no names behind any of it. It's just, unboxing scene. Well, now we got today, it's like, oh, yeah, he's getting equity in DAZN, and it's a 3-fight deal guaranteed. He might get 6. Again, who is saying this? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know who's saying this. It's all like to me.
That's why it's difficult to report because unless somebody's willing to put their name to it.
I believe Coppinger is saying this.
Well, that's
I could
what I'm
be
saying,
wrong.
and we should wait. What's up?
I could be wrong. I think Coppinger is saying this actually. Let me look real quick. I think it could be Coppinger saying all this.
Sure.
But because it was on Ring TV.
What I'm saying is, where's Coppinger getting it? You see what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm trying to say. Is
I hear you, man.
I take Boxing Scene as the most legitimate site, and then when they said that 80 or $100 million deal for Tyson Fury, I took that as gospel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then come to find out, no, it's not true. So with all these deals, I'm of the wait and see variety. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm more focused on the actual fights themselves than these supposed deals these guys are getting,
Paul, when we do a podcast like this, whether they're factual or not, we have to. That's why we have the segment reporter put as news and rumors, because not only do we have to talk about the actual news, we got to report on the possible rumors in case they do become factual.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that always, though, Robbie, because like someone could just say, "Oh, guess what?" I'm just thinking of something crazy off the top of my head. Billy Joe Saunders wants to move up the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? To fight Anthony Joshua. Now we have to use our reasoning to determine what is like realistic and what's not. And if we're going to continue to see that most of these deals turn out to be bunk, at some point, in my opinion, I keep saying this, we got to be like, why would we even bother wasting our breath on these things, other than to possibly refute them or point out like I was saying about what Beeb said last week or the week before about the Anthony Joshua making $30 million. A lot of these times, you can just look at the internal logic and be like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, for me, I think it's just causes confusion. And especially because right now, I just keep coming back to this. Like today I'm on Boxing Scene, and which is just such a shit show right now. Anytime someone mentions Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder, the comment section turns into this, oh my God, I don't even know why I bother reading it. It's like a car wreck in there. And so, but, like what ends up happening is I go in there and inevitably it's not about like, who's the better boxer or anything like that. It's like everyone's talking money and they're just throwing figures around, and I'm like, the numbers are all over the place, and none of these guys ever stop and go like, hey, none of these numbers match up, and we're sitting there throwing them at each other. I don't know. I just think it adds confusion to what is already a very confusing sport oftentimes, just from the fact of like, when we're talking about the fights themselves and how boxing is so reliant on the judges' scorecards, and then you throw money in and all this stuff. It's like, I think we have enough to talk about already,
Right.
And let's see here.
All right, man.
What was the other thing I was going to say?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, that's it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, last point.
We got to get going, Paul. So.
No, that's fine. No, I didn't really. I don't really have anything else to say. So.
Anyway, okay.
Right,
see you next week.
Good call, brother.
Always. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Let's see here. Let's go to. Let's see. We got somebody on the line for. All right, Minnesota. If you're just give me a few minutes here, and then we're gonna get you. You'll be the next call. All right. So just give us a few minutes, and then we'll get to you.
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Yay! Yay!
You guys done eating crow today? You guys done eating crow, or you want me to feed you some more crow?
How are we done eating crow? What do you
mean? Because we complimented PBC, Eric.
No, that has nothing to do with it. You compliment PBC every fucking week. I mean, that's nothing new. Come on now. Nothing new, Robbie. Did you watch PBC? Did you watch the undercard, Robbie, on FS2?
No, I did not watch the undercard because we were recording a show at that time, Jason.
Oh, you didn't DVR it? Come on, man. They had some good fights on there, actually. The Money Powell fight was good, and who was that kid that had all those tattoos, the Southpaw kid? He fucking came out blazing. He knocked that kid out in like a couple of rounds. Who was that?
Reminds me of Tank.
Yeah, No, not really. He lost to that kid on Chris Colbert. They said he might get a rematch or something. Tank doesn't fight on undercards, Beeb. He's a main eventer now. Got to get their shit together.
Of course.
So what do you think of Tank? I mean, do you like him or?
Shut up.
I mean, do you like him or do you like him? You know what I mean?
I like him like you like Eddie, I guess.
So you tell me. I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking a question.
What'd you guys think about Money Powell?
I told you I liked him.
What'd you guys think about Money Powell?
We already talked about it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I liked him.
Shut up. No, I'm talking about.
You know, sometimes I wonder, Jason, do you actually listen to the show when you're on hold?
Yeah, listen to the show, dude. I'm just asking. I just want to have a discussion about it. I mean, Eric just said
Eric said he liked him. What more is there to say?
Shut up, Eric. I mean, Robbie, you need to shut up for a second. You need to mute yourself. You're up to 10 interruptions already, dude. Jesus Christ.
Hey, with you, it's not difficult, okay?
You're not even speaking any boxing. You're just fucking butting in just for the heck of it. Come on, let me talk. Jesus. I mean, you should be fucking writing tweets about Steve King being a racist cunt, not fucking interrupting me today. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know? I've been telling you guys that piece of shit has no fucking integrity or ethics for like years. Like, I've been telling everybody, but I'm glad you guys are kind of coming around to seeing what a fucking piece of fucking human shit he is. Like, he's a real bad guy. I remember months ago he retweeted some random Twitter user who called Clarissa some ghetto piece of trash or something. He retweeted it. It was like LOLZ. Like, I'm like, this is a fucking boxing journalist? I could never imagine an MMA journalist like Okamoto or Helwani even thinking about doing some shit like that. They would fucking get fired ASAP. Like, that's the kind of, and this guy is always making racial jokes about LA riots in LA, about black people's like language and how they talk and all this shit. Like, he's a fucking sick guy. Like, I don't know what's wrong with him. And people talk about PBC guys that are race baiting, but this guy does more race baiting than anybody I know. I mean, most of his tweets are about racial, yeah, even me. I don't even tweet that much. I mean, I barely tweet anything. I just retweet things. But that's what he does, dude. I mean, and he's a journalist. I'm not a fucking journalist. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I don't have any guidelines from ESPN and shit. And I hope. Actually, I don't think some people like Andre Ward, they would ever speak out because he's a fucking coward too. He would never say anything.
Whoa!
Jason, I bet you if Andre Ward was standing in front of you, you wouldn't have the guts to say that.
I'm speaking here. Can you shut up for a second? Jesus Christ, I'm speaking here. Jesus Christ. I mean,
well, you're not doing a very good job so far. All you're doing is saying a bunch of garbage.
Shut up, dude. Shut up. All you do is say any garbage, dude. Whatever you said, the whole show. Anything interesting? No, nothing. No original thoughts. It's fucking talking points. Also, as soon as the fight ended with Dirrell, I know some I guess I talked to some Mexican kids, and that's what they said. Oh, Dirrell quit. I'm like, how did he quit? He had one of the worst cuts, and it's always a certain segment of boxing. It's always the Mexican kids that follow Steve Kim and Dougie that read their tweets, because as soon as that fight quit, that Steve Kim was going to be bashing him. I knew it. I mean, I didn't even see his tweet. When you read it, I was like, oh, no surprise, he's there. And it's the same people, all the Golden Boy fans and shit. The people that were hyping up Rios and Soto were bashing this fight. And also, I heard that DAZN didn't show the whole undercard last night. What happened there?
I didn't see it. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you.
And
honestly,
remember the week? Remember the week before?
What's that?
Yeah, but remember the week before PBC didn't show a couple of fights, and everybody was fucking talking about it, that PBC didn't show their fucking undercard fights. How could they not do that? Remember that shit?
Yeah. Does that make us racist?
I tagged you in something like that today.
Not showing their undercards.
No, who called him racist? I'm just talking about
asking a question. I mean, I'm just saying.
Who called him racist, though? Who called him racist? I just said they were talking about PBC not showing all the undercard, and DAZN did the same shit last night, and nobody fucking said a thing. You don't see the difference there?
No, I don't.
I mean, PBC did that last weekend. Everybody was saying they need to show every fucking fight on undercard just because.
You know why nobody talked about it? Because nobody was watching the card.
Why?
Nobody was watching the card.
Sure, people were watching it.
It wasn't a great card. That's why.
People were watching it. Even that Barbosa boxing kid was like, the Twitter boxing consensus seems to be nobody's watching PBC, everybody's watching DAZN. I was like, I commented. I was like, I'm guessing the boxing Twitter must be a small world, because I'm sure hundreds of thousands of people are watching PBC. And also, Beeb, you're talking about promotion. They did promotion for these kind of fights too. They gave Dirrell and Yildirim a face-to-face show and a countdown show. Who does that to these like third-tier fights? I mean, ESPN is not even doing that to the best fights, and Fox is promoting these little fucking shitty fights. They're giving a face-to-face show, a countdown show. They're going to their homes and gyms and interviewing them. And these are like, nobody fucking cares about these fights. And they're not even going to do like all access shit for Crawford now. I don't think they're going to do that shit like that for Crawford.
Yeah, ESPN doesn't have anything like that. So, like, that's the thing. I already told you they have all those shows for the MMA guys, but they have nothing for the boxing. I already told you they're not focusing enough on the boxing.
They've got ESPN 2 and 3. They could do something if they wanted to. They've got ESPN 2, 3. They could do that. I mean, they've got so much free airtime. They've got bullshit ass shows running all day.
Can't you see?
You know what? That being said, though, that you say they're not focusing that much on boxing, and I think you're correct. I think the UFC is going to get bigger ratings than the Top Rank boxing will, and quite honestly, Top Rank has left a lot to be desired with their programming on ESPN. It's not been the greatest. So
I agree.
Yeah, that's why you see all these fake offers being sent out. Those public posturing. Oh, we're sending a offer to Wilder. We're sending an offer to Spence. Like they're fucking about to come to your piece of shit platform. Okay. I just saw Lipinep. Go ahead.
I was going to say, here's the new rumor now. Now there's people on YouTube saying, oh, Bob Arum's going to offer Deontay Wilder the Tyson Fury fight plus a 5-fight deal. Who the fuck said that? Where's that coming from?
Nobody.
Didn't Bob do the same shit to Manny with Murad Mahmoud or whatever, the guy that used to have Manny and he stole him from him? I mean, Arum knows all this history. That Arum is a fucking snake. I wouldn't even let my fighter fucking go near like a fucking mile from that fucking cocksucker, man. I mean, I would never let my fighters go near him.
Really?
He's a fucking Jesus Christ.
Beeb talked to Arum this week, and he had nothing but nice things to say about you.
Beeb is not a fighter, dude. Beeb is a regular civilian. He doesn't. Arum doesn't want to fucking. Arum doesn't want to sink his fangs into Beeb.
Nice things to say about Jason and Tank. He had nothing but nice things to say about you two.
Dude, these jokes are so lame. You need better.
I'm just saying. That's what he's saying.
Robbie, pipe down. Jesus Christ. Also, I just saw Lipinets on ES News. The fucking whole Fox Sports crew was there, like their cameraman and their fucking whole crew is filming that guy. I mean, this is the kind of promotion they're getting. You don't see the fucking ESPN crew hanging out with Crawford. And Lipinets is with Joe Goosen now. He was at that gym. I think he's going to be better this fight.
Oh, he's with Goosen?
Always improves people.
He's with Goosen now?
Yeah, Goosen was just training him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's just sparring and shit. Goosen's back, man. He's got a couple of... He also, that Tuksud kid, that Mongolian kid, he used to be with Goosen. I don't think he's with him anymore.
Yeah, he's not with him anymore, I remember.
Amir left Goosen for the Crawford fight and went back to Virgil. I think that's a bad move. Virgil is useless. I don't like his instructions. He doesn't even get in the ring. He yells instructions from outside the ring, which is kind of fucking weird. He stands down there at the apron.
All right, Jason. We'll say hi to Tank for us. It's been
real. See you later.
Also, Beeb, you need to calm down on these fucking weird ass porno sounds and shit. Also, did you see the interview I sent you? Porter said he's not training in Vegas anymore. He's training in D.C. So that means he's not training with Kenny, I think. That's probably the closest confirmation we're going to get.
Let's see if I can get Kenny a call this week and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah? You got his number?
Yeah, I got his number, son. You know who we are?
Shut up. Also, dude, where's my wrench at, man? Why haven't I gotten my wrench back? You said I could get it back.
I'll let you think about that. I'll let you think about how you abuse power and why you haven't gotten your wrench back.
I'm going to give it back to you next week.
And you didn't even put my social media thing in under my name, dude. Why can't you do that when I call it? I mean, it's not that you're fucking putting over/under accounts and shit.
Did you not see it?
I don't see it on the screen. No, I don't see. I'm live. The screen on right now. I don't see anything.
Eric, let me say one thing to you. Yes. Tell me if this makes sense to you. He blocked me on Twitter today.
Who did?
Jason.
What?
And now he's asking
for a couple hours.
And now he's asking. Oh, for a couple hours. And now he's asking.
Look at what Beeb is tweeting. Look at what Beeb tweeted about me. He's tweeting like little girly things like, "Oh, Jason the moron told me this." I'm like joking around with him. He's like, "Jason the moron told me Showtime's in more homes than Fox." Like as if I would really say that. I mean, come on.
See your name on there. Kobe Bean, right? At Kobe Bean?
Yeah, I see it now. Thanks. I see it now.
Yeah, all right.
Put Twitter next to it. Put that Twitter birdie next to it. Put that Twitter birdie symbol next to it, please.
That's what you got, all right? It is what it is. I put it up there.
Yeah, okay. That's cool, dude. That'll make the show look more professional, you know?
See you later.
I'm gonna give you the
Robbie, shut up.
I'm gonna give you the wrench. I'm gonna give you the wrench back next week.
Come on, baby. You'll forget about
later,
it next
man.
week.
Oh, I won't. I'll do it back.
All right, guys. Robbie, stop being an asshole. Come on.
You know, you two, I really don't see what you guys see in him. I really don't.
He's family, Robbie. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
He's family.
He's family.
Yeah, maybe the Corleones.
Remember that movie? Remember Thor? How Thor had his half brother Loki?
Yeah.
Odin found Loki after that battle with the Frost Giants, and he took him in as his own. That's kind of like what I did to Jason. I took him in as my own.
Gonzalo in the chat said Jason was garbage again.
Guys in the chat, he's garbage every fucking week. I don't know what people see in him. I really don't.
I mean, what's up with the smear campaign? Please, he's one of our callers.
Who just spent 5 minutes talking nonsense.
Robbie, he's got freedom of speech here. We're open expression here. Please.
I understand that, but my God.
I will tell you that he did waste his time in a ridiculous way. I will say that.
Please, Robbie.
No, Beeb. I'm right about this.
Okay, Robbie.
Look at the latest comment in the chat. All right. Area code 612, Minnesota. You're live.
Welcome aboard.
Or maybe you're not. I don't know. There's two. So let me, hold on. We'll try this again. 612, Minnesota. You're live.
Yo, what up?
Hey, what's going on,
What's up?
What up, Robbie? What up,
Hey,
Eric?
what's up?
How you doing, man? What's your name?
Yo, how y'all doing?
What's your name, sir? Andre, how you doing, brother?
Andre Kiani in the chat.
Andre Kianis,
how you doing, man?
All right.
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for calling in.
It's an honor to call you guys, man. I listen every once in a while, man. It's an honor, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yo, what the heck is wrong with that previous caller, man? There's so much hate in his heart.
Oh, he's absolutely nuts. We have to deal with him every single show, man. He's nuts. He's nuts.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but yeah, man. I was at the fight last night. That place was packed, and I brought a few friends from work and stuff, and they were like, "Wow, boxing is alive and well." I'm like, yeah, it's like that. But it was a pretty good show, and to think that like Andre Dirrell or Jamal James, they're really nobody in the game. You know what I mean? Like nobody really knows them like that. So that was pretty cool. But I had told them that it was going to be easy work for both those fighters, but it was it was a struggle for Dirrell, and it was a struggle for Jamal James. It was crazy. I didn't know any their opponents either. So
yeah, I can't believe the WBA has Jamal James ranked number 3 in the 147-pound division. He's going to get slaughtered if he ever gets in the ring with Pacquiao or Thurman. My God.
Yeah, he gets squashed. He gets hit with too many shots and stuff. And but Dirrell, like, man, he just like he always fights like he's uninterested. Like he just tries that just enough, you know what I mean? So yeah, and his antics, like his antics was just like, you know, like it just didn't match. I don't know. It wasn't pretty. Like the 2 other fights before him and the undercard fights were really good, but then the main event was just it kind of fell short. But yeah. What do you guys think about Joyce though?
He sucks.
Oh, we don't think
he's terrible.
We don't think he's got a future. Period.
No, he boxes like an absolute. He boxes like a robot. He looks like a Rock'em Sock'em robot, and he holds his hands the same way. If you watch him, I don't see it, man, and I don't see him improving either. And I understand, what has he got, 5 or 6 fights? I got it, but they're talking about rushing this guy. They're talking about rushing this guy to fight like for a title, like the Manuel Char next. Son, he's not ready, man. They got to take the time with him, man, because he doesn't have it.
Granted, he's 33 years old and he's only got 8 fights, but God, if I've ever seen a fighter not ready for the big stage, he's not ready.
He's 33. Wow, I thought he was younger. But yeah, the other guy though, Adam Kowanki. I mean, I think he's ready. I think he's. I mean, they both knocked out former Wilder opponents. I think he's pretty good. But Joyce, he doesn't look. I don't know, the eye test. He doesn't pass it. But yeah, that's basically it, man. I was just surprised how packed it was for like a Dirrell fight. You know what I mean? Like Dirrell, nobody knows who Dirrell is. But the PBC have done several. The PBC have done several cards in Minnesota, and every time they put a show on there, it's done real well. So. Yeah, it was during the snowstorm too, so I was surprised. But yeah, that's all though. But yeah, man.
Thanks for your call, man.
Thanks, man. That was a good call, man. Thank you so much, man. Sure. All right. Let's see here. All right, and give me a second. All right, so let's talk about some upcoming fights here. Here we go. All right, February 26th, I believe that's Tuesday in Japan. Fight's not going to be televised, but it's Vic Saludar versus Masataka Taniguchi, 12 rounds for Saludar's WBO strawweight title. Can't wait to not watch that. On February 28th, 2 days later, I believe on Thursday, correct, Robert?
That's right.
All right. Ray Jimenez versus Luis Alberto Lopez, 10 rounds featherweights. Shea Green versus Gerardo Esquivel, 4 rounds junior welterweights. And this is from Toppenish, Washington on UFC Fight Pass. So there you go. March 1st, which is Saturday. Friday. That's right. It's 28 days. I forgot about that. From Hollywood, Florida, on Telemundo, Ricardo Espinoza versus Ricardo Nunez, 10 rounds bantamweights. And Derek Cuevas versus Ed Paredes, 10 rounds welterweights. Okay, that'll be on Telemundo. And March 1st. Just bear with me here. From Chonburi, Thailand. Now listen, it doesn't have a TV station as of now. It will not be televised as of now. I don't know how this thing cannot be televised. It will be televised somewhere. Robert, the best ever. The best to ever lace up a pair of gloves, brother. The best ever. TBE. Wanheng Menayothin. 52-0. Is that right? 52-0?
Yeah, something like that.
Give me his record, baby. 52-0.
Please, Robbie.
Talk about the best ever, son. Wanheng Metayothin versus Tatsuya Fukuhara. It's a rematch. Metayothin's going to do it again for the WBC strawweight title, Beeb. Beeb is salty about this because that's the one guy he can't get in Beeb Industries. It's the one guy out there with standards, son. He said no to the Beeb. He said, I'm not buying your brand. I'm not doing
Please,
it.
Robbie.
Please, Beeb.
All right. And March 2nd, Saturday on Showtime, Brian Castano versus Arislandi Lara, 12 rounds for Castano's WBA regular junior middleweight title. And Louis Ortiz versus Christian Hammer, 10 rounds heavyweights. And it says Ricardo Nunez versus Edner Cherry, but I thought Edner Cherry was injured. I could be wrong.
He was. That was canceled, so I don't know what they're going to do there.
That's what I thought, too. Yeah, that's what I thought, too. But, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that fight. I like to watch Louis Ortiz fight, but the Castano and Lara card, I could.
No, I'm not looking forward to that either.
I could do that one. But moreover, if I have a choice, again, this goes back to like if I have a choice to watch DAZN or Showtime, I'm probably going to watch Showtime because on DAZN we have from Peterborough, England, March 2nd on Saturday, Jordan Gill versus Emmanuel Dominguez, 12 rounds featherweights. That's the headliner. Go figure that one out. Richard Rick-Pore versus Tommy McCarthy, 10 rounds cruiserweights. Yeah, that card blows. I mean, that's complete.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've got a pathetic week of boxing. It sounds like, guys.
Guys, I pay $10 a month for DAZN.
I'm glad I'm not.
And I
want a discount. I want a discount.
Yeah, no, and
I'm glad I'm not.
No. And there's loose rumors going around that they're raising their prices. Let me tell you what, you better not. All right, because listen, man, I can only go so far with this. You know, I'll pay the $10. $10 is reasonable to me. Yeah, you go any further than that, I mean, you know, I don't know. You know what I'm
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
All
Pretty
right.
bad stuff.
March 2nd, from Titletown, Columbus, Ohio. Live on DBE1.com, live.dbe1.com. DeBella Entertainment. I think this is an extension of his Broadway boxing, Broadway on boxing or Broadway, I don't know.
It's Broadway boxing, yeah.
Whatever. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But nobody cares about the title. But it's taking place in Titletown, so you know it's going to be a hit. Junior Fa. Is that how you say it? Fa? F-A? Or is it Fa?
Yeah.
So Junior Fi. Junior Fi, I think
Junior
it is.
Fi. Okay, Junior Fi.
Yeah.
Versus Rufal Ota, 10 rounds heavyweights. That's the headliner. George Arias versus Robert Sims, 8 rounds heavyweights. Stephen Shaw versus Donovan Dennis, 8 rounds heavyweights. So there you go. And that is in Columbus, Ohio. If you guys are blessed enough to live in Ohio, if you are blessed enough to maybe even live within driving distance, you definitely want to go, okay?
Are you going to credential yourself and go to that card, Eric?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So, but that's the fights this week.
Please, Robbie.
Please, Robbie.
What a lousy week of fights, guys.
Not good. But hey, you know, again, we have to go by the schedules, and on paper, it doesn't look that promising. I got to be honest with you.
No, it does not.
You never know. You never know.
That's why they have to do it in the ring.
That's right. That's it. There it is. All right. Time for the news and the rumors. How about that? All right. The big rumor this week, and it just came out today. All right. And you heard some of the callers allude to it. Triple G may have signed with DAZN. We don't know this for sure. And now Mike Coppinger wrote an article for Ring TV that said that Triple G is very close to signing a deal with DAZN. I'm going to repeat that for everybody listening. Triple G is very close to signing a deal with DAZN, which means the deal is what? Not done yet. All right? It's not done yet. All right? So that's the deal, man. We can't, you know, it's not certain. The numbers, this is all coming out of Coppinger. It's in his article on Ring TV. This is what he says. 3 fights guaranteed, could rise to 6 fights. $10 million in his first fight with a return fight, I guess the return fight in spring and summer. $30 million for a potential Canelo trilogy in September. And DAZN dates for Triple G promotion shows. So Triple G, as you know, has his own promotion, so there'll be some DAZN dates there. Triple G gets equity in DAZN, which means he may become like a shareholder or some kind of equity in it. The other thing was one other thing that they mentioned, I believe, in the article was that Tom Loeffler was not involved in the negotiation, but still may be a part of Triple G's camp. In the sense maybe he's his manager. I don't know. Again, take all those numbers with a grain of salt, because that's what everybody rushed to judgment on the Tyson Fury thing, and we kind of debunked that earlier in the week. Beeb made a call to Bob Arum, Uncle Bob, and there it is. But Beeb, any thoughts?
Well, there's a lot of information that's being reported from allegedly someone who's really not been talking a lot, and from a camp that's not really been talking a lot. These guys have been incognito. Tom Loeffler, Gennady Golovkin, Abel Sanchez. When he's being asked questions about Golovkin, he says, "I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen." So once again, speculation rears its ugly head, and I'm not saying this is not true, but I'm sure there's been a lot of things added in there. You know what I'm saying? So people will take something they've heard, and then they'll, how a lie kind of grows. A lie travels and it goes across the world, right. and it gets bigger and bigger with every stop. This is how this boxing reporting is starting to become.
Yes, for sure.
It's getting real bad. It's getting real bad. The whole thing about equity, how would people even know these things? Like, this is really, 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 really intricate shit here, and how these guys really getting all these details. Like, do you think someone's gonna actually sit down and tell you every little detail of the deal? Like, how would they know this much? You know what I'm saying? That's just too much. It's just too much information that I don't think would be revealed by someone of importance in the Golovkin camp. I'm not saying a guy that, has crossed paths. Sometimes these guys will hang out at a gym or something, and then they'll just say one thing, and they're not really in the know. You know what I'm saying? Unless Tom Loeffler or Golovkin or someone, of stature in the camp says it, then I'm not going to really confirm or deny it, or I'm not going to give 100% credence to it at all. So I'm just going to hang tight and wait till something becomes official and it's announced officially.
I agree. Robert, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, it sounds like a good deal, but how do we really know this stuff? We've talked about this ad nauseum with websites and people who are supposed to be higher up than we are and who are supposed to get their facts straight. How do we really know? I mean, I'm just amazed by what people are reporting. We've interviewed Tom Loeffler twice, and he's been nothing but respectful and nice to us whenever we've talked to him. When somebody like him says something, then we'll take it to the bank. But until then, with a lot of these rumors that we have to talk about, we're not going to take them as official until we know they're official. And whatever Triple G decides to do, it's going to be ultimately up to him. And let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I would go along with that. I mean, again, it's nothing official. And now, Coppinger, for it to be reported by Ring TV, for me, that's a big deal. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. But again, what did Ring TV really report? Nothing. The deals are, sources close say that, hey, they're close to a deal. Okay.
But who are these sources? Sources close. That's so vague. It's so ambiguous.
Beeb.
You know?
It says, that's the funny part. I mean, you and I go back and forth on that too, is where it just says sources. You know?
Yeah.
This reminds me of the whole Watergate scandal.
Sources, you know. This
reminds me of the whole Watergate scandal where Deep Throat would give his stuff to Woodward and Bernstein, and he'd go, well, I'm getting it from sources. And it took the Washington Post several years to dig out all the so-called sources.
Did you just say Deep Throat? Did he just say Deep Throat?
He just said
yeah,
Throat.
Because that's what the guy was called. You know, no. If you go back and study the history of Watergate, Joe, that's what he was called.
It sounded funny though. You know what Deep Throat is, right, Robbie?
Yeah, I know what you're thinking of, but I wasn't even thinking in that direction.
Oh my goodness!
Get your mind out of the gutter, Beeb.
Come on, what's the matter with you?
Steve Kim.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
I will say this: Coppinger, to me, on this source, seems to be credible. I mean, obviously he's a credible journalist, but it seems to be he could be closer to the situation given the fact that Golden Boy and DAZN are pretty close. So I would think he knows what's going on. And I would think if Ring TV printed it, that, listen, man, it's got to be, like you said, I mean, there's going to be an announcement this week. We'll make it official, of course, when we hear the announcement or whatever. We'll come on and we'll tell you everything. But
that's right.
You know. But until then, there's not much we can do. So now let's talk about the Beeb. The Beeb got an interview with Bob Arum this week. And Beeb, what did you find out about that $100 million deal with Tyson Fury?
It's bullshit.
Oh. And that's right.
It's pure bullshit.
And BS.
Straight up. And with that, we go to, it's time. The train wreck of the week. Hang on. Let me get you on camera.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
There you go. I tell you what, those voice lessons are paying off because you're getting better every week. 1,500.
You know what does? You know what does it for me is that smile. That smile just lights up the whole screen.
Mine or Elena's?
Yeah.
Elena's, of course.
Oh. Or whatever. You know.
I'm trying to steal the limelight, kid.
All right. So the train wreck of the week, and Beeb came up with this. Beeb, go ahead and tell them our train wreck of the week.
Train wreck of the week is the boxing media because they ran with something for a couple days. And they just made up these numbers, 80 million, 100 million, 5-fight deal. Now, you know, ESPN and Top Rank are pitching a deal to Wilder that's supposedly 5 fights. So then when I talked to Bob Arum, he totally refutes everything that's being said in the media. And even still to this day, there are people that are still, referencing this 80 million, 100 million, and they're adding more and more lies to the story, or more and more, speculation to the story with nothing being confirmed. So this week's train wreck of the week is the boxing media. And also, Bob Arum and Tyson Fury, I'm going to throw into the train wreck of the week too, because they did not come out and refute any of this. Bob Arum waited till Friday, and I think the story came out last Tuesday. So he was being interviewed several times. Tyson Fury was being interviewed several times. And not once did they say that the 80 million or the 100 million was not a real number. So the boxing media, Tyson Fury and Bob Arum, are the train wreck of the week this week.
There you go. There you go. Let's talk about this, man. This was a lot of fun. It took place in New York City, and it was really cool because there was so much buzz around it, man. Anthony Joshua, Big Baby Miller had a press conference. Dirrell Miller and Anthony Joshua faced off at the press conference. Miller shoved him. Continued to taunt him throughout the press conference. AJ handled himself very well. I thought Miller handled himself very well in the sense that he's promoting the fight. I thought it was great. Both guys after that went on. I think they went on Sway? Is that what it's called, Beeb?
Yeah, Sway in the morning.
Sway in the morning. Okay, so they come out. I guess they went on Sway in the morning. They both gave really, really good interviews on there too. They both did raps or whatever. I guess they both did rap songs or like what do they what is it? Freestyle? Is that what they call it, Beeb?
5 Fingers of Death freestyle.
Yep.
What's 5 Fingers of Death? Robbie's like, yep, like he listens to it. Do you listen to it?
No, but I'm familiar with the show. It's a show that they have on Sirius XM. He's on from 6 to 10 in the East every day, and a lot of celebrities come to his show, and at the end of their interviews, if they're interested, they do their own raps and things.
Look at Robbie into hip-hop. I didn't know that about you. Look at you.
If they throw on 5 different beats, Big Baby Miller did the 5 Fingers of Death because they threw on 5 different beats for him. And Anthony Joshua just banged out a freestyle. I mean, I could bang out a freestyle right now if you'd like.
I think I'm good.
Okay. I have really good. I could probably do the 5 Fingers of Death.
I think we're good. No, I think we're all right.
Probably at the end of the show, I'll bang out a quick one.
All right. Okay, all right. Go ahead, Beeb. Let's do the 5 Fingers of Death.
We'll do the 5 Fingers of Death?
God.
Yeah, give it to me.
A former lowlife, but now people call me the king. Tearing it up with every lyric that I bring to the table. Because I'm willing and able. I'm in more homes than Comcast cable. I got the skill that'll rally your brain. I'm a threat like Saddam Hussein. Everybody know my name. Joe Habib's a top soldier. Kid, they should have told you. You really need to pack a lunch. My rhymes hit hard just like a Tyson punch. So, give me a chance. I bet you I can make you dance. Show me your girl. I bet you I get in her pants. I'm breaking egos and money is what I'm stacking. Joe Habib on the mic, you know I'm down for action.
Word. I tell you, I am down with that. So how long did it take you to write that?
Probably like 30 seconds.
That's his life's work.
All right.
He's been working on.
Now, the entertaining part of the show is over. Thank you.
Jason just said the Lebanese LL Cool J. All right. But the two, like I said, man, the two went out there. The one thing that did come up in this is that, Robert, was it Friday that Joshua was supposed to be on ESPN with Kellerman?
That's right, and it ended up to be Tyson Fury.
Yeah, they apparently had like a whole like thing planned at ESPN. They had a, like a whole set of interviews. I mean, lots of them for Anthony Joshua. And apparently they canceled them like that's the either the same day or the day before. And so it was like, so ESPN like just put the kibosh on that whole thing. I guess because it's on DAZN. I don't know. I don't know why they did, but they did. They said they wanted to get him on closer to the fight, but I don't know, man. That was kind of messed up, man. All right. Billy Joe Saunders will fight for the WBO 168-pound title. He'll move up in weight and fight for the vacant WBO title. Saunders will face Shafat Usifi. Yeah. In case you're wondering, I don't know who that is either. So, Beeb, have you heard of him?
Heard of him, but I don't know too much about him.
I haven't even heard of him. Robert, you heard of him?
No, I've never heard of him, and this is the title that Gilberto Ramirez gave up to move up to 175.
There you go. All right. Anthony Crolla and Vasyl Lomachenko have signed. The fight is going to take place on April 12th at the Staples Center. A lot of people are saying this fight sucks. I love it. I'm a big Anthony Crolla fan. But, and do I think that Crolla wins? No. I think Lomachenko wins. I think he wins, But I can't wait. I don't know what it is, but I can't wait. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
Crolla fight, it's not. I don't hate it, but as Michelle Rosado says, I don't love it either. So, I guess it's what all that we have. All that we have, really. I mean, what else? Who else could he fight?
Well, the guy he was supposed to fight.
He was supposed to fight Richard Comey.
Comey, that's right. Comey got hurt.
That's what I'm saying. He pulled out. I mean, the Comey fight was really an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
That would have been a real good test for him. But I don't hate it. But I don't love it.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say.
Yeah.
Well, is Crolla a threat? Absolutely not. Is the outcome in doubt here? No. But let's see. I mean, let's see if Crolla can do more than I expect. Let's see if the fight turns out to be better than I expect, because I'm hoping for both.
Robert, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I was looking forward to Richard Comey, but Anthony Crolla is a very good fighter. He always gives an honest effort every time he's out there, but I think Lomachenko wins. I don't think it's going to be as competitive as the Comey fight would have been, because I think Richard presents some interesting things for Lomachenko to deal with. But let's see what Anthony can bring to the table. And I'm glad he stepped up and was willing to take the fight, because, a lot of people, when they're presented with a Lomachenko fight, they don't jump at the chance. So I'm glad that he took it, and we'll see what happens.
Very good. Very good. The World Boxing Super Series is set. Regis Prograis versus Relikh. Now, there was some talk that Prograis was going to pull out. There was some talk that, Prograis was going to pull out, and that, what was it, Baranchek pulled out, and, Prograis, but he stayed in, and good for him. He's going to face Relikh, and Georgie, your title is going out April 27th. If you remember, Robert, do you remember this? Do you remember me and Georgie bet on the Donaire-Tete fight, the Nonito Donaire versus Zolani Tete fight?
That is correct. That is correct.
Georgie, let me tell you right now, your days, my friend, are numbered. All right? So keep a good shine on that title, because all I'm going to do is take it right back. So there you go. So both of those fights are set for April 27th. Robert, Prograis and Relikh, how's it go down?
Well, you know what? I like this fight. I think it's going to be a very competitive fight, a very good fight, but I got to go with Mr. Louisiana, Rougarou. I think Prograis will come out with a very hard-fought decision, because Relikh is no pushover. And I think it'll be highly competitive, but I do think Regis Prograis will come out the winner.
Please, Robbie.
I take it you disagree, Beeb, with that response?
No, I take Prograis.
Okay.
I think Prograis wins that one easy.
I like Prograis.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't think that's close. I'll be honest, man. I don't think it's close.
No, I think you guys are underestimating Relikh. So
you can put some money on it. You can put some pie on it.
No.
Some Ringside Reporter currency. Put some of that on there.
No, I hope I'm right. I think Prograis wins, but I think it's going to be more competitive than what you two think.
That's what everybody's saying. Hey, did you see the tweet with Rated R Music on Twitter, Beeb?
Yeah, with Mikey Garcia.
Mikey Garcia. He wants to, if you give me 3-1 odds, if you spot me 5 rounds, I'm only betting money.
No, you don't work that way.
He's got
more
excuses.
You don't work that way.
To prison. You know what I mean? Listen, either you believe in your guy or you don't believe in your guy. It's that simple.
If you want to make prop bets and stuff like that, you go to a website, go to a sports book.
Right.
I'm sure 5 dimes will handle you.
It's the real deal over here. You either believe in your guy or you don't believe in your guy. It's that simple. It is what it is.
That's a fight. I don't think is going to be close. I think Spencer's going to blow him out of the water.
Yeah. I'm starting to second guess it.
Yeah, you can't now. It's over with,
I think Spence. I'm going to pick Spence, but
no. You picked Garcia. You can't go back on it now, Beeb. It's the way it is.
I'm going to pick Spence, but I think Garcia is going to make it interesting.
I hope you're right, since we're going to pay for it, but I don't think it's going to be that way. I don't know. I'm going to be very interested to find out, but I'm thinking I'm thinking it's 75.
I think Jason
somewhere
said,
around there.
I think Jason said it was 70. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
He told me. How much is it, Jason?
He doesn't know. He's gonna make up some number.
Yeah, he probably will. But I want to bring up a point about the press conference, because I heard you guys do the show on it the other day about the Joshua Big Baby, and you guys were talking about Sky Sports and how they bleeped out all the bad language and stuff. And maybe we need somebody from the UK to come in and talk about this. But if Sky Sports is a premium channel like an HBO or a Showtime, and they're going to cover boxing, why would you even waste the time of covering a press conference if you don't want bad language? I don't understand that logic, because now granted, DAZN is not on TV, but they let the whole thing go. And whenever you see fights on HBO or Showtime, of course HBO's not doing fights anymore, they didn't cut any of the language out. So why would a premium channel that everybody pays for be so sensitive about bad language? Because a premium channel also shows movies with bad language, concerts with bad language, comedians with bad language. What's the deal? Can somebody from the UK explain how that works over there?
That's just how they do it, Robbie. It's a different culture. You have to respect it.
Said, Kobir, he says in England, bad language is not cool. So yeah,
okay,
I mean, it is what it is. So
it's their etiquette.
Yeah.
Well, then why did they cover the press conference?
Well, because you have to swear during a press conference. Nobody knew he was going to act like that. I mean, he's like crazy things. I mean, why would you? I mean, you would think like during a press conference you wouldn't have to. You wouldn't have to censor it or anything like that. But
I've seen plenty of boxing press conferences where a lot of that stuff has gone on, Eric.
But not like that usually. That was a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
Please,
okay.
So did you actually see the press conference, Robbie? I mean, did you get a chance to watch it anywhere?
Yeah. I got a chance to finally look at it, and I didn't see a problem with it. That's why I asked the question. I understand. I understand they cover fights and all that kind of stuff, but is this something they always do during if they cover press conferences? They knock everything out if it doesn't meet their standards.
That's how it is, Robbie.
Okay.
All right. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel.
Beeb. All right, so let's see here. Let's go to all right. The ring belt. All right, everybody knows the ring belt. It'll now have a women's title on the line here. The ring belt will now have a women's title. The first ring belt will go to the winner of Clarissa Shields and Christina Hammer. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
I like it. I think this is a good fight. It's an interesting fight. It's a fight that we've been looking forward to. I mean, boxing fans have been looking forward to it. Hopefully this is a fight that could possibly put female boxing back on the map. So I think Ring Magazine's doing something really nice here for the women, and they're helping to try to grow women's boxing in the States. So I'm happy about that.
I agree.
Hello?
Robert.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah. Well, you guys faded out. I didn't know what happened.
Robbie, that's two right there. That's a 1-2 punch.
Sorry.
Jesus. With you. Should have set this over under for friggin' 40. That's 20. That's 23, guys.
Hey, no, you guys dropped out. I thought we got disconnected here.
Robbie, please. So yeah, I think it's a good move, man. Shout out to Ring Boxing for doing that. Ring TV for doing that. Excuse me.
Beeb cutting him no slack tonight. That's cold-blooded, man. It's cold-blooded. Beeb's being cold-blooded tonight, Robert.
Next week we're gonna make the over-run of 24.
Oh, how dare you! How dare you, sir?
17 was weak.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie.
What's happening, people?
What's up, Georgie?
Guys?
Oh, Georgie.
Hey, Robbie, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because I know you was the one who called so women could get their shine in the sport. Thanks for calling them.
Robert, well, you know what? I'm glad that Ring is doing this. I think it's good.
No, you're not, Robbie. Stop lying.
No, my only
women through all the years.
I saw the petition. I saw the petition set forth.
Beeb, my only problem with women's boxing is they need to fight under the same rules as the men. 12-round fights for titles, 36 minutes.
Please, Robbie.
Robbie, let them know, Robbie, quality.
You trying to kill these women, Robbie?
If you're gonna be in boxing, you got to fight under the same rules. Come on.
Jesus Christ, Robbie, you're trying to kill these women.
Tell them, Robbie, we want to see some fucking skull crack. We want to see somebody lay the fuck out. Let them know, Robbie. We appreciate the brutality of the sport, the sweet science too, but a little more the brutality.
Robbie!
Realistically, guys, all three of you don't agree with that? You're okay with 2-minute rounds and only 10 rounds for titles?
No, fuck that, Robbie. I'm on your team, baby. I'm just kidding. I'm with you 100%. Don't let it fool you, Robbie. I'm with you.
That's my only problem with female boxing. If we're going to see them and they deserve to get exposure, then fight under the same rules.
Robbie, it's called satire.
Okay, we got to move along, Robbie. We appreciate your support for the so-called weak sex.
All right. Anyway, go ahead, George.
How come my title is not in the fucking screen? Jason fucking crackhead ass can go fucking from the boondocks of Georgia. Yo, listen, Beeb, tell Harry where the fuck I'm from.
Hey, you're in Massachusetts, brother.
Respect for the champ.
Robbie, he asked me to tell him. That's number 25. Oh. That's 25 right there, Robbie. That's 25.
Oh, come on, Beeb.
25 times, Robbie. You're worse than Fox News. You're worse than Tucker Carlson.
Oh, come on.
Listen, you guys seen Rios before, because I know Corey got to be holding, so I want to make my shit short. You guys seen Rios?
He's not holding.
He left. He was pissed.
Why?
Oh, he left? You can be docking Corey for hours, bro. What the fuck?
Tough.
See, now we miss Corey's call.
Tough. I'm sorry. Let's
rearrange. Let's
go ahead and rearrange the format for Corey. Why don't we just go there? Why don't we just do that instead?
No.
You rearrange it for fucking Jason.
Why don't we rearrange the
from
format
Ringside,
so he doesn't have to wait?
Down there.
In Jason's defense, we start the show at 7, right?
Son, he calls in like 10 or 15 minutes prior to the show. He calls in at
5:30 just so he can be first.
That's what he does. He calls in literally 10. He's the first guy on the line. That's why we go to him first. He's the first guy.
No wonder he's called of the year.
We go in order, man.
You just fucking sleep by his phone on Saturday night just to be first, huh?
You call 5 minutes later and put you on. It doesn't work that way.
This kid's pinging my phone at 5 o'clock in the morning, sending me Facebook posts on Messenger. I mean, this kid's dedicated.
Yep.
Dedicated. Listen, let me talk some shit about Rio, because Rio, man, bro, hang them up. It's about that time, baby boy. What you wanted? You looking for the Stevenson fucking Adana Stevenson ending? There is that time that you gotta hang those shit sloppy. You mass load, you don't see shit coming, and you wear a punching back to start with. You ain't getting no better, cat. Somebody gotta talk to these men, bro. These dudes got family out there. He's gonna get hurt. These dudes gonna get hurt. He don't see shit coming at all. He didn't used to see it before. Now it's even worse. That shit is ridiculous. I don't know who was the Eddie giving a contract?
Yeah, I think he's got a contract with the
Yeah,
with DAZN.
I think he's got a contract with DAZN. I don't know if he's got a contract with Eddie Hearn or not.
Well, they better stop putting those mattresses out there. We love violence and the whole thing, but we want some shit that is not even, sort of even. On paper, look even, because the other dude was 38 years old, but the difference in speed and reflexes, everything was like night and day. I don't know, bro. That shit was like, I'm Rios. I really think hard on retiring.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Doing no more cat. Not good for you. Anyways, I gotta go, but I gotta go in a little sad note. I just want to give a shout out to Wingy Boxing. I love you, brother. Shout out to the UK. On my avatar on YouTube, that's what I rock, Wingy Boxing. And until your channel is not back on, I won't change my avatar. I just want to let you know that, Wingy. I love you, brother, and we're waiting for your return. Gotta go. Everybody out there support. Ringside Reporter, Ohio, Boston, Georgia, UK, the world. I'm outie.
All right, there you go. That's why he's the people's champ. And definitely shout out to Wingy, man. We miss your channel and everything like that. Hope you come back soon. Looking forward to you coming back, man. We miss you. And that should do it, man. That should do it. There was something else I wanted to say. Yes, Kobir in the chat. He said it's 1:51 in the UK. Thank you so much for staying up and listening to it, man. It's like it's really humbling to know that like people actually stay up in the UK to listen to us, man. So that's
we gotta get this.
Hey, that's why we love the UK, man. They're great
we gotta
people.
get the Skype going, and we're very close, so we just got to get the Skype going, man. So yeah, for sure.
Gotta do it for our UK fans.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And we have a lot of them over there. Which is nice, man. Which is very nice.
I do remember the Boxing Truth podcast, Tony Ayo. They were pretty good. I was surprised to see them go. They were good. They were one of the. I think they were the first ones. I want to say. I think they were the first ones. Sorry, Eric.
No, you're fine. You're fine. All right, and that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at
area code 773-572-7781.
And leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. I'm at Ringside73 on Twitter, and we will see you next week. Look for our shows, guys. Make sure to look for our shows all throughout. All right, all throughout the week. We've been doing spot shows and everything like that, so we'll try to keep it going this week as well because, quite honestly, it's a lot of fun doing them. So
we're looking to step our game up, guys. We're going to be stepping our game up. Robbie had the interruption count at 26. Next show he's going to try to hit 30, guys. So make sure you tune in.
Oh my God!
How dare you, Beeb? How dare you? All right, guys.
Catch you guys next week or throughout the week. Hopefully, we have a lot of news to bring you. So.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Using Blog Talk Radio.